What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode number 86. This week, I'm going to do an update episode. It's been a little over a month since I've done one, and we're in the middle of scheduling some guests, which is also why this one's coming out late. So, figured it'd be a good time as any to do it. So, on number 86, I'll update you guys kind of on what's going on and look ahead a few months to what's coming for Ridge Hunter Outdoors and the podcast. This is the Ridge Hunter Outdoors Podcast. Episode number 86. Like I said, we're going to be doing a update episode. The last one we did was on a full draw Friday, a little over a month ago. So, good a time as any, I thought, to let you guys know what's going on, what's coming up, all that kind of stuff, give you some stuff to look forward to when it comes to the podcast and the YouTube channel and all that kind of stuff. And speaking of Full Draw Fridays, I'm going to try to do a couple this week to catch up from last Friday. So we'll either have one probably tomorrow or Thursday and then the normal Friday. So we'll have a midweek Full Draw Friday, and then we'll have another one back on Friday again. And then next week we'll have hopefully a guest for the regular episode. The next couple weeks, we got two of them we're trying to get lined up. Like I said, we're in the middle of scheduling them. Hopefully, we can get together and have those guys on the next couple weeks. So it'll be a couple good guests. I will post them in our Facebook group when I find out before they come on. So if you guys want to ask them any questions, you can, which is something I was going to talk about a little bit later. But while we're on it, I'll go ahead and just talk about it now. The Ridge Hunter Outdoors podcast Facebook page, it's RHO Podcast patrons. So that's for all of you that listen. To join the Facebook group. And then essentially what it is it's a hunting group, but we're kind of facilitating it, I guess. So you guys can talk about the normal hunting stuff like any other hunting group you would have on Facebook, but also have some input on the podcast. We're always open to suggestions for topics to talk about or guests. You know, we like to talk a lot through North American whitetail on our normal episodes when we don't have guests on. And, of course, we love talking to different people throughout the industry. So if you guys have ideas for someone you'd like to hear from, a guest you'd like us to try to get on, definitely put it in that. But it's RHO Podcast Patrons is the name of the group. It'll ask you like a couple questions. Do you listen to the podcast, I think is one, and then something else maybe. You just answer those and it'll let you in. It doesn't cost anything. We're going to do hopefully some exclusive giveaways on that page here as we get into the fall too. We might do some scents and stuff like that, some Ridge Hunter products. So that'll be cool. But you'll have to be a member of that group to be involved in those or to have a chance at winning those. So make sure you go do that. If you're on Facebook and you listen to the podcast, doesn't cost you anything, and it'll give you an opportunity to see kind of what we got coming up. Like I said, when we have those guests scheduled, and when we do have guests scheduled, I'll put it on there for you guys to ask them specific questions if you want to, if you got anything for them in their area of expertise or anything you'd like to know just from them or about them when it comes to the hunting industry. So that's a good place to do that is our Facebook group for the podcast listeners. And eventually I'll probably rename it. I'm not really in love with that name, but it's just it worked at the time. So I wanted to get the group going, get it up and started so you guys could be a part of it and feel like you're more of a part of the show. And that's what we want. You know, we're always open to comments, criticisms, whatever. We may not always listen, but, you know, we like seeing them and all that stuff. So you guys can kind of be engaged with the show there. And then, of course, you know, we have our email, ridgehunteroutdoors.com@gmail, where you can email us any of that stuff as well, or message us through our website, ridgehunteroutdoors.com. You can also do that when it comes to the podcast, what is related to that, so or anything else for that matter. But like I said, we do have a couple guys coming up, so I'll post them on there when we get them. Trying to do a couple Full Draw Fridays this week. And then coming up in just over a month is the Deer Beer Fest. I would like to get the guy on that puts on that show to talk to him about it so you guys can get even more information. But it's a great show just from what we experienced last year. And I know they're changing some stuff, so it's going to be even better this year. I think he really listened, Cole up there really listened to people's input, whether that be exhibitors or people walking through the doors, and he's changing some things around. I think it'll be even better than it was last year, and last year was a really good show. So, and it's relatively close to home compared to the Alabama shows or the Iowa shows for us. So we're going to go up there and have a good time. I'm not sure who all is going to be up there. I know Nate, Dad, and Jeff would all like to make it. I'm just not sure if they're going to. I think Nate's for sure going to be there. And Rod was there with us last year, so if you stopped by and got to meet him, Rod from the show last year, he might be. Just kind of depends on who all is going to be available and who we can get up there. But that'll be a good show, so make sure you can look it up, Illinois Deer and Beer Fest, and get your tickets for it. I'm not sure how much they're charging this year, but it's not much. And you come out, have a good time, drink a little beer if you're into that. If not, that's fine too. And then, see a lot of cool stuff, exhibitors and all that. They had an auction last year. I'm not sure if they're doing that again this year. They're just doing it at a different time. They had a cool after party with some live music last year. So it's a really big, cool event, and I know we're looking forward to getting up there. We're going to do several podcasts while we're up there as well. So we know some of the guys that we've had on before even that are going to be at that show, and then maybe try to get some new guys on if we can, or at least line them up. That's how, when we went to Iowa, we kind of got some of the guests that we've had on recently, just talking to guys up there. So we'll have hopefully some new guests from that, and some old familiar ones as well. We'll do in-person podcast with them up there. We got, several guys, I think, in our block where our booth is supposed to be that we know and that we'll try to have on as well. So when I find out our booth number for sure, I will post that, so if you guys are up there, you can stop by and talk to us, say hi, check out whatever we got going on at the booth. We'll be doing probably a podcast not live, but we'll be recording it from the show like we do at the Iowa show at some point over the weekend. So you can stop by and say hi on that as well. But hopefully we'll see you guys up there at that. We're really looking forward to it. I know everybody that's I've talked to that's already heading up there is looking forward to it too. It's always a good time. So aside from that, we got the cabin vlog update coming soon. I've got half of the video edited for it. I got to go out and shoot some more stuff to finish out that video. Right now, I've got on there from when I planted it. I didn't have cameraman with me or anybody to run the camera, so there's not a lot of what I actually did, but I explained it all and show you guys how it's kind of looking. As far as when I went in there, planted the milo, and then came back, I sprayed where the buckwheat's going to go. I put some nitrogen down on the milo, and all that stuff's looking really good. The milo looks great, which will be on the second half of that video. You guys will be able to see that. And then the buckwheat's starting to come up. Some of that other stuff's starting to die. So it's looking really good for this year. We got some pretty critical rains here in the last week or so that are really going to help that as well. I expect it to be even taller than the last time I was out there. When I go shoot those other videos, I'm working on getting a blind moved in there soon, hopefully, on the new plot. If you guys haven't, go and check out the other videos where you can kind of see where we opened up the second plot there at the cabin, not the one by the building, but the other one where I hunted out of that blind on it, that homemade platform blind last year, which is also on the YouTube channel. But that we opened that plot up, so it's got some milo in it, and then it's going to have some fall stuff on the other side of it. It's about a half acre now, so it looks pretty good. I'm going to try to get a blind moved in on it. I'll try to do some video on that if we can. But I'm looking forward to hunting that spot this year. Last year I had the deer, but I didn't have the best food because of the drought we had last fall. And with the client stuff, mine generally gets put off, so I don't always have the luxury of planting around the rain. I just kind of have to do it when I can. And then the year before that, I had the really good food, but I didn't have as many good deer. So hopefully this year we'll have both. I know for sure that one of the shooters up there, that split G3 buck, is at least he was alive when it came time to shed antlers. So hopefully he'll still be around. Maybe that big 9 from last year as well. And then hopefully we'll have some good food. I think right now for sure the milo is going to produce. It's going to be good. And then the fall stuff, as long as we don't dry up like we did last year, if we have a good fall, I think we'll be all right on it too. We're going to do some Grandpa Ray stuff out there and see how that goes. At least that's the plan as of right now. We'll plant it straight into that buckwheat, but that'll all be updated on the video. I'll show you guys kind of where we came from to where we're at. And that's another cool thing too. You can kind of follow along just like we did with Jeff's last year on the first year back to doing his plot. You'll be able to follow along the new plot there at the cabin kind of from scratch where we started based on where it was last year to where we're going now. I haven't done as much with the old plot because I know you guys have seen that, but I'm keeping you updated on it as well. It's just a smaller project. There's not much to it. We're just planting it, basically. But the other one, there's been a lot went into it, from clearing the trees to piling them up and pushing them to the side and getting rid of some of the debris, going in there and working it down with the disc to level everything out, spraying, planting the new stuff, doing the first year food plot deal with the lime and all of that, and then now with the buckwheat, and then pretty soon, here in, a month and a half or so, we'll be planting that dude in the fall stuff too. So looking forward to that. And then, I mentioned Jeff's property. There'll be an update on his as soon as we can get together on that. I don't have anything in the works yet, but when we can get together and do another video out there, we'll update you guys on that. I think I have part of one ready from the last time we mowed it, and we went ahead. The corn didn't make, I think we talked about it on one of the episodes of the podcast. So we went out with some Conceal from Whitetail Institute. Jeff planted some of that, broadcasted and drugged some of that the last time we were out there. And then didn't get the rain we were supposed to, but we got rain about a week later. So basically just to try to salvage some screening that we were going to have the corn be used for when it didn't come up. So we're going to have some Conceal, hopefully some grasses, whatever's in that blend come up and be the screening where the corn was supposed to be. The Milo was looking pretty good the last time we were out there. The beans needed a rain pretty bad, like everything else at the time, and they've got it now. But the issue we run into now, he hasn't been able to get out there and spray the beans and all that. And then the Milo is in a lot of places, we have it. Some of it's on 30-inch rows. Some of it we have beans in between the rows just to see, a kind of experimenting thing. And they turned out okay, but there's letting a lot of sunlight in and hitting the ground, and we got a lot of grass issues there, which is part of not spraying from last year when we did work down, we mowed and burned all that. That was switchgrass before. So it makes sense that there's a lot of grass in that area because it's been a switchgrass field for probably a decade before we planted last year. So, but that's just an issue he's having right now. He's thinking for next year, probably just go with more switchgrass instead of trying to plant the corn again. And then we've talked about some different options we have for the Milo and the beans, just putting the Milo together on one half and the beans on the other, and then rotating them from one side to the other, or doing half and half on either side of the clover plot, which it still looks good. The clover looks as good as it did last year. That drought hurt it a little bit, and not getting that rain after we mowed it the last time. He wanted to go ahead and mow it, so we did. Not getting that rain hurt it a little bit, but I think what we've got recently has helped it come back. So it's still looking good. There's still plenty of clover there for them, which they seemed to like last year. And then they've been working on the beans underneath the grass. That's part of the problem, too. They haven't really been letting some of them grow, which is fine. That's what it's there for. So they've even been picking through the grass and eating the beans out that are trying to grow. But we'll have a little bit of Milo there. We'll have some beans, and then he'll have still a pretty good clover crop. So it'll just be, covered in grass, which the deer don't really care as long as they can find it, like they have been already. It's not going to bother them that there's grass around it. They'll pick through it and eat it, and then they'll hit the clover plot. And hopefully, it just gives them a place to come in and eat, even if it's at night. And then maybe the bucks find it. Maybe they come in there and find the does, and then him or Dad could get on one out there behind his house this year. Not necessarily on that plot, but maybe in the woods, catching them going to or from, or catching the bucks coming to check the does that are living out there. But we'll get you an update on that, again, as soon as we can both get out there and get a video shot on it. As well as that on the YouTube channel, we're potentially going to have some new guys contributing to the channel this fall. So we're just that's another step towards building more of a traditional type weekly hunting show, which is what I want to do. Where last year I kind of did the vlog style. I was putting something up about every time I went out as much as I could. Most of the time just by myself. I wasn't doing a ton of self-filming. There was a couple episodes where I did. One of them was when I shot the buck there at the cabin that we didn't find. Of course, he stopped right behind a limb, so he was out of the frame of the camera. But I'm going to try to do some more of that this year to get the shots and stuff on film, not just kind of the hunt itself. I will keep that aspect of it because I really like being able to show you guys why we're doing what we're doing and what we're doing and why we're doing it, I guess. And I'll keep all of that stuff so you guys can still get that. I want there to be some kind of benefit from that. Maybe help anybody out who's kind of maybe in a similar situation, or maybe guys that are just kind of learning. But then also we'll add some more to the entertainment aspect as well, with being able to hopefully hunt together more often. So we'll have pairs, cameraman and hunter, like the more traditional way. One of the guys that's going to be hopefully contributing this fall is going to do self-filming. I'll probably end up doing quite a bit of self-filming as well. I got to update some equipment on that. But that's the plan for right now. So we're just building towards a more traditional hunting style show, but still with kind of our roots and what kind of building on what I did this past year. And then what we've been doing on the podcast. It's never going to be, never say never, but it's not going to be a great big production, kind of like you see on some of the TV channels, some of those shows that you see where really you kind of just see them sitting in the blind shooting the big deer and then standing behind it talking about it. We're going to try to keep it more grounded than that, I guess, in what we've been doing and what we're about at Ridge Hunter. So, but there will be more, hopefully, of an entertainment aspect too. So I'm looking forward to doing that this fall. Looking forward to getting into that more. Hopefully we'll get some sponsors lined up for that as well, so we can help them out. They'll help us out, and then overall that'll help you guys out, because we'll have a better product for you guys overall on the channel, and we'll maybe able to offer you guys some more discounts as well, like we do with our current partners. So that's all coming up this fall. Really looking forward to that. At least that's kind of the plan for now of what we're looking at doing. And then, we've been talking about doing some stuff at Nate's property. Hopefully he's got a guy that's going to hunt with him. That's maybe another new guy we're going to have come on and help us out as well. I don't want to name these guys just in case something happens, or, again, nothing's official yet. So, but we'll have maybe a couple more guys helping us contributing this year, and then maybe doing some hunting on camera and helping film some stuff. But we're going to, again, back to Nate's, we're going to try to do some videos out there when he gets to his plot. I know he's done a little bit more to it. He got a stump disc or an offset disc out there and worked the ground, and then I don't think he's worked it back down yet with the regular disc, but that's where he's at on it. Probably going to end up planting beans out there as late as it's gotten. And instead of the corn like maybe he's originally planning, I think he's still planning on doing some grasses for his bedding area. But we'll try to do some video on it as well before the season rolls around, when he eventually gets around to that stuff. So that way you guys can see. We did some video on his property last year, but you guys can see some of the new stuff that he's doing. And then that way, when this fall comes and we do more of the hunting stuff, you guys will kind of be familiar with the properties and what they look like and where they came from, and then kind of get your bearings about where you're at, depending on what stands we're sitting in and all that kind of stuff. I really enjoy that on shows that I watch, so I want to add that element into what we're doing as well. Hopefully whenever he gets around to that, we'll be able to get together and do video on that too. So updates coming on the YouTube channel for sure. You want to make sure and subscribe to that. That way you don't miss them. And that's Ridge Hunter Outdoors on YouTube. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you do know when everything comes out. And you can keep up with it that way, especially when it comes to this fall. We're looking forward to everything we got coming up on that. That's pretty much all I got for you guys for this week. I don't think I'm missing anything. Really appreciate you guys all tuning in, especially through the summer. I know it's kind of as far away from the season as we're getting now. We're starting to get closer, building towards it now. But June and July, you're not really thinking about hunting too much. But it's a 365-day a year kind of thing if you're looking to harvest mature bucks consistently. We talk about that all the time. So hopefully the little tidbits of information that we're putting out there, or maybe you're picking up something from the guests we have on the Full Draw Fridays that's going to help you even throughout the summer, or just something you hear on this podcast in June or July. Maybe that's what makes the difference in you killing a buck this fall. So we appreciate you guys still sticking with us and tuning in. We're continuing to grow on the podcast, which is exciting to see. Our downloads keep going up and just overall trending upwards. So, and that's all because of the listeners and you guys continuing to tune in. So we, again, just really appreciate that. But that's all I got for this week. Again, obviously a shorter episode, but it's just an update for you guys, and look forward to the guests that we have coming up and the other Full Draw Fridays that we have coming out this week. Before we get out of here, don't forget about our sponsor for the episode, Rodney Hawkins. If you guys have your own piece of ground, or that you're wanting to get rid of. Maybe you're wanting to upgrade. Maybe you're wanting to downgrade. Maybe you want to get into your first piece of ground that you can manage and hunt and put some of these practices, implement some of these practices that we talk about when it comes to property management or herd management or anything like that. Maybe you're wanting to do that on your own piece of ground. If that's the case, you need to talk to Rodney Hawkins. He grew up hunting and fishing in Southern Illinois, and he's now putting that love for the outdoors into selling recreational properties as a land specialist with Midwest Farm and Land. If you guys haven't heard of Midwest Farm and Land, they're not your average real estate company. They sold over $85 million worth of ground in 2022. They've got agents like Rodney all over Illinois, so they're really a local company with a national reach. So even if you're an out-of-state guy looking to buy some ground in Southern Illinois, there are some big deer around. We joke about all the time that we're from Kansas, but there's plenty to go around, especially the more guys we can get in the state that are practicing good management, whether that comes to habitat or deer herd, the more the merrier when it comes to that. So if you guys are looking to get into any of that here in Illinois, or you want more information on Midwest Farm and Land, or maybe getting your property listed or what's available, you can contact Rodney directly at 618-925-3153, and he'll get you taken care of. He's also started his own company called RHO Outdoors, and they currently carry products from Radix Blinds. They've got an all-natural scent elimination product called Camo Dust. They've got Byrna self-defense weapons. He's got Tacticam trail cameras. He's all the time coming out with new stuff as well, getting new people in his store. As for the blinds, the Radix blinds, Nate actually spent a lot of time in one this fall, and he was more than happy with how that worked out for him, all the way from setup to functionality of it, how it worked when it came to hunting, all that kind of stuff. I was really impressed with it, too, when I was around it. We hunted in it once together. Really liked that. I think it's a really good option when it comes to a elevated box blind if you don't want to spend the money for a hard-sided blind. But if you do, they have those, too. But if you're interested in anything that RG Outdoors has to offer, you can send them a message through our Facebook page, RG Outdoors. Email them at rgoutdoors@yahoo.com. Or, again, just call Rodney directly at 618-925-3153. Again, don't forget about our website I mentioned earlier, ridgehunteroutdoors.com. If you do find anything on there you like and you want to buy, use the discount code RHO Pod, and that'll get you 10% off. That's all caps, no space. Don't forget about the Facebook group that I mentioned earlier, RHO Podcast Patrons. We're on social media, Ridge Hunter Outdoors. That's where you're going to find us pretty much anywhere on socials that we have and that we use most of the time. And Facebook and Instagram are the two big ones. Apple Podcast, if you guys are listening there, go ahead and follow us and leave us a review. That stuff really helps out. Same thing on Spotify. You can do that. You can follow. You can leave up to 5 stars, I believe, which we really appreciate. And then YouTube channel, again, subscribe to that. Hit the notification bell. Like and comment on any of the videos there. All those things help us out, and you don't even have to spend any money. So really appreciate you guys tuning in again for this week for the update episode. We're going to have some more regular ones coming out here soon. In the next couple of weeks, have some good guests on, like I've mentioned on this podcast already. So we'll catch you guys on those episodes, and then make sure you tune in for the Full Draw Fridays as well. See ya.